Generative AI, large language models, GPT. Buzzwords creating great excitement, but also instilling fear in others. Some jobs are at the risk of going extinct because technology will provide better replacements for humans currently performing these tasks. Is my job safe? What does the next few years look like for my career? Will I even have a career? Many questions and fears arise. Are they valid? Hello, and welcome aboard to the Tech Self podcast, where we navigate today's tech wave one electrifying conversation at a time. Enjoy today's episode. This episode is brought to you by Big Spark. Big Spark is the UK's fastest growing data solutions consultancy, translating your business needs into data architecture, strategy, and engineering. Together with their technical partners, they focus on swift and efficient business value delivery. Taking an innovative approach to every challenge, Big Spark is an agile team of over 100 world-class engineers and data scientists pushing the boundaries of what can be achieved with AI, data, software, cloud, and machine learning. To find out how Big Spark can ignite your data solution, visit us at www.bigspark.dev. Big Spark, igniting change through engineering. Hello and welcome to the Tech Self podcast. I am Raymond Kluche and co-hosting with me is McLean. And today we have two amazing guests to have a very interesting conversation that is very current. So I will first want you guys to introduce yourself, or Joel, you start, and then Zain, you can proceed. So just a brief introduction of who you are, what you do, and we can proceed.
Yep. So I'm Joel, De-Graft. I'm a senior engineer with Big Spark. In terms of my background tech-wise has largely been in software engineering. I studied computer engineering for my bachelor's, and I did a master's in advanced computer science with a focus in artificial intelligence. I'm now basically working as a software and data engineering consultant with Big Spark. So that's a little bit about me.
Nice. That's great. All right, Zain, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thanks. Good to be here. So similar background to Joel. I did a computer science degree, finished that, then did a master's in artificial intelligence. And I've been with Big Spark for 2 years now. Yeah, working on like data engineering, data science. So yeah, good to be here.
All right. Well, great to have you. All right. So let's just start. So if I can remember the first time I heard AI, my mind just went to robots. I don't know whether it was all of you who had the same experience. The first time I heard AI, all I could just think about was this metallic being that was, going to take over the world whatsoever. Definitely after that was the time when I was in uni. But things have evolved, higher education and everything. I can tell that there's more to the AI space than I thought. So Zain, if you can, just in your own words, in the most, simple, like in the simplest form, define what AI is.
Mm. All right. In simple terms, I'd say it would be a subfield of computer science, which intersects with mathematics. And at the simplest terms, I think AI is just numerical optimization, basically leveraged to make algorithms perform tasks without being explicitly programmed to do so. So I think that kind of covers a good broad family of AI things that you could do.
All right. Okay. And Joe, would you want to add something to that?
Yep. I like to approach the definition more simply, I mean, definitely what Zein said is very accurate.
Mm,
And I would also throw in statistics as part of the fields that I intersects with. But I normally, when I'm asked, what AI is, I just ask people to define what natural intelligence is,
mm,
right? Because it's the same thing, but with natural intelligence, you have a human. Artificial intelligence, you have a non-living being, like an artificial agent. So,
right.
and Zain mentioned AI being a subfield of computer science. I want to talk about AI having other subfields, So I mentioned learning. Learning is one of the biggest subfields in AI. So that's where you have your supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. And if you think about it, that's how human beings learn,
Mm,
right? With supervised learning, being able to say, okay, you have images of, say, a cat, right? And you're teaching a human, okay, so this is a cat, this is a cat, this is a cat, this is a cat, different images of cats. The next time the human being sees a cat that is not even in one of the images you show, they should be able to realize that this is a cat because they've been able to extract features of what
right.
they've learned from what a cat is, right?
Right.
So getting a machine to do that is, what we call machine learning, right? So
Mm,
human learning. So it's basically the same thing that where human intelligence resides, but now getting artificial agents to do that. And you also mentioned that you think about robots, and I think it's not far from that thought,
mm,
right? Because basically, if you think about a robot, if you think about a human being has a skeletal structure, limbs and stuff, and a brain,
all right.
right? A robot will be the same, similar skeletal structure to
Right.
a human or any other mammal or
Right.
animal,
Right.
and then the brain is where AI resides.
Right.
So you get it. Most the mirroring of those two is what we think when we watch movies, like
Right.
iRobot and Co.
Okay. All right. Okay. You've clearly defined AI, and that's good. But what isn't AI? Right? What isn't AI? I know there's a lot in the market at the moment. Everyone is talking AI. Everyone is just throwing everything as AI. You go online, you see a domain name .ai, blah blah blah. What isn't AI, or what isn't AI? I think simply, yeah. Maybe Zane, would you want to throw a bit of light into it?
What isn't AI? It feels like a philosophical question, but really, I mean, yeah, like you said, everyone's kind of slapping AI as like a buzzword term, right,
Right.
on everything just to create some more hype around their products and stuff.
Right.
But I mean, technically, if they're using some machine learning, then yeah, sure, you could call it AI. But I think we've gone to a point where just simply having like a classification or regression algorithm as part of your product, sure, you could technically say it's AI, but really, when what we're thinking of when we hear AI is probably things like large language models, big computer vision systems, things that like algorithms and systems that perform big tasks to a human like level. We're not looking really, oh, sure, you trained an off the shelf sklearn algorithm to predict, if you're looking at a cat or a dog. Sure, that's interesting and all, but really, is that what we're interested in hearing when we hear the term AI? No, I think we're looking for more, large scale systems that perform interesting things. So yeah.
Right. All right. So let's just talk a bit about your experience. How did you enter into AI? I'm sure you probably were a computer science student, and the whole hype started and everything, and you're like, what? Maybe I just want to give it a shot, or maybe you did start doing your bachelor's. Just tell me a bit about your AI journey. Yeah.
Honestly, I wasn't even planning on going into AI. The idea in my head was, okay, I'm gonna do my bachelor's degree computer science, and I'll specialize in cybersecurity, right?
Okay.
And then somewhere along the line, that plan just got completely destroyed because you know, um, like we had Alpha Zero, that like open DeepMind algorithm, like just all these advancements happened while I was finishing my degree. So like during second year and third year, which kind of just opened my eyes a bit more to the possible realms you could do in artificial in computer science and AI. So I
Right.
was like, yeah. So it kind of grabbed my attention. Specific, I think the point where it really grabbed my attention was the GPT and BERT models. So at that point, it just I was like, oh, okay, this is getting like serious now. So I thought probably a good idea to enter this domain, learn about it more. And yeah, it's turned out well so far. So glad I made that decision.
It's quite interesting you mentioned that because I remember doing my master's when I was, doing NLP, natural language processing. My professor kept on saying, NLP was going to be a very huge domain in a few years and everything. And honestly, it was just nice to see that, I could throw in some knowledge and then ask the bot to do something and then it's actually flowing with the conversation. At the time, I didn't really think that NLP was going to really be that important. And then 2 years down the line, I just see that everyone is using NLP because at the time when we had bots were mostly assisting us on websites, or maybe we have that small chat on a website to help us answer a few questions, which they actually are being used today. But then you see that it's now being used in a whole different way. It's not just limited to that little assistant there, but it's more of becoming more like it's becoming part of our everyday life, and it's quite intriguing. Joel, would you want to share a bit about your experience
My
into how you
journey,
found yourself into AI?
yeah. So I did. I studied computer engineering, and in my final year, we had two courses: Introduction to Artificial Intelligence and Introduction to Robotics. Right. So that was like more on a bachelor's level. So in AI, we did things like the AI search algorithms, breadth first search, depth first search, A star search, with heuristics, greedy algorithms, and stuff
Right.
like that. Planning paths, game playing, and Zane mentioned Alpha Zero and co, and how they approach and as a chess fan too, I've seen a lot of um, application of all those techniques in chess, right, with the grandmasters playing these engines. But interestingly, the decision to um, pursue a master's in artificial intelligence came from the fact that at the time, I was well versed in the software engineering space, all right, and where the industry 4.0 technologies are concerned, I sort of had an idea or understanding of almost all of them. So, like, with cloud computing, blockchain, data engineering, like I sort of had an idea of all of that, right? But where artificial intelligence was concerned, I really didn't know much. So I was like, okay, since I want to be an all-round techie, let me pursue knowledge here, right? And then yeah, that's how I got into it, and yeah, it was an interesting journey um, during my masters.
All right. So, do we need AI? Do we really need AI in our world today? I know AI is here and there isn't so much we can do about it, but do we really need AI? Does everyone need to create something.ai? Does every company need to put in a plugin of AI? Is AI really, 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 really needed for everyone? Maybe in some cases, but what do you think? Maybe Joel, I'll continue with you from there.
Okay, I mean, I think the demand speaks for itself.
All right.
It's almost like saying, "Do we need the internet
Mm,
now?"
all right.
Right? I remember, well, I don't remember from like experience, but from studying history, the dot-com bubble, right? So when the dot-com bubble, happened, people were like, this is it's not going to last. It's a fraud. It's like the internet is not here to stay. Traditional businesses are going to, but look at where we are now. You cannot even you cannot be a serious business without an online presence.
All
It's
right.
like you're a joke, and it's the internet that makes that possible, right? So we definitely do need AI. It's here to stay. There's nothing we can do about it. Um, it's it is disruptive, and I'm sure we'll be talking about the disruption in a bit. But yeah, we do need AI in every field. The same way, tech, even tech as a field, the impact it has had in every other industry,
Right.
law, health, finance, especially, right? Trading, talk about e-commerce, big e-commerce platforms like Amazon, like the fundamentals of what it means to be a human being, tech has, permeated all those sectors. And AI being, the what brainchild of tech now is definitely going to, yeah, affect everyone. And at every point, like at any point in time, everyone is going to be using some form of AI, whether weak or strong. Yeah.
Zain, do we need AI?
um, I mean, I think of it like this. It's like, do you need a car to go from point A to B? Technically, no,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
But it makes it way more convenient, just way
Yeah.
more efficient, right? And that's kind of the idea with AI. It's just the increases in productivity, efficiency. Just it's a good solution to scale at a really high level and still have some efficient way of handling the large demand. It's basically like having human level decision making at a certain degree, obviously with some pitfalls, on like a large scale. So yeah, I think there's definitely we need AI to sort of tackle big things, and we've seen like there's so many examples of just AI being really, really, really helpful and necessary. Like all this stuff with AlphaFold for the protein folding, that DeepMind release, that is like a decades long issue or a problem in the biological community, and it's a great solution to have. It's really like it's taking us forward in sort of technological advancement, and there are innumerable examples of having things like that. So there's definitely room for AI in the world. We definitely do need it, but yeah, we'll go on later to like all the ethical implications of it. We kind of have to responsibly use AI. So
Right.
that's the big issue.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, that actually begs the question: which jobs will AI really replace? Because right now we have AI almost everywhere, but which jobs should humans be sort of scared that AI is totally going to replace? Which kind of jobs?
Yeah, so I'd say highly like routinized jobs are definitely going to be eventually fully replaced with an AI system. But I'd say overall, I see there's like two types of replacements. Are you either going to have like a full replacement, like a human just employee being like laid off and then just having their tasks fully automated by an AI system, or you might have another type of replacement, which is going to be sort of a decreased demand for employees, but you will have to use AI a lot in your day to day. So there's going to be sort of like a symbiotic sort of replacement, kind of like an enhancement, and then a full replacement. So the jobs that are going to fully be replaced, I think, definitely highly routinized jobs like manufacturing and assembly line workers. Data entry clerks, customer support service, transportation and delivery. We already see Tesla with their big, autonomous semi trucks it's working well. It's probably going to keep going in this direction, right? But other jobs where you kind of need really like complex like decisions, like I'm thinking mainly of like healthcare, for example, or law. You kind of still need you kind of want the human to be in there, right? Because it's a very human facing job. You don't want to sort of just use an AI worker there because we've already seen examples where that doesn't really work well. Like there was a lawyer a couple months ago, like they tried to build a case using ChatGPT and it sort of invented a law that doesn't exist. So you're gonna have a lot of scenarios like that where AI systems are just naturally not as good at like um, how would you say it, like experiencing or sort of taking input from around you, because it sort of needs to be processed first for that to happen. So humans are just naturally better at processing the environment currently. This might change, will change in the future, right? But yeah, to summarize, I'd say highly routinized jobs definitely fully replaceable. But yeah, super complex, like in jobs involving high levels of human, like cognitive thinking, decision making, stuff like that. Probably not going to see a full replacement for sure.
I want to contribute to that from a more futuristic point of view. I think Zein is right in saying that some of these jobs will not be replaced, but I think now will not be replaced. But I want to think about AI as, I want to think about this question in terms of the vision of AI is to replace all these types of jobs, right? So even law, even medicine, especially in fact, especially law, especially medicine, right? Because these are areas with, now we have LLMs. These are areas with large, domains of text in terms of knowledge,
Yeah.
right? And ChatGPT failed to, you know, build that with that law case, right? But GPT-7 will probably do an excellent job than any lawyer possibly, because I think we should keep it in mind that we are trying to mimic human intelligence, right? So when you think about law, medicine, that's human intelligence at work there, right? So the closest we get to entirely mimicking human intelligence, everything that human intelligence requires will become at a risk of being replaced. But I think maybe it will segue into the next thing. But I also think that I think it was Gary Vee that said that AI is not going to replace jobs. What's going to happen is people with AI are going to replace people without AI. Right. So, yeah, I guess that's also another way to look at it. But yeah, the potential is crazy to replace every type of job where human intelligence is required.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if you take a look at the scale of AI deployment or where AI touches, I mean, take a look at Midjourney, right? MDAL-E and all that. You can generate photos to hyper realistic images, right? Some of these images are pretty awesome, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, previously, whenever you generate an image with AI, it shows like instead of that it fails to it fails to generate the human hands properly. You see like 6 fingers or 10 fingers and all. Yeah, but right now it's really really improving. But
Yep.
I think doesn't doesn't that doesn't that feel like AI is gradually replacing the life, right, out of humans. It's like it's pulling out it's extracting the essence, right, of human life. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Maybe it's the apocalypse where it
Yeah,
comes to
it's like
over.
it's like anytime you think about AI, like right now, you start thinking of this dystopian society. You get it. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that,
Yeah.
Joe?
I agree. And it's interesting that we are all techies here, and the examples you are giving, we didn't even say tech because we think that we are some supermen.
No, to be fair, though, we will get into that because I did realize that every time we talk about AI, we talk about law, we talk about medicine and other human like human intensive like that require you to retain a lot of information. But I think we've all seen it in our everyday life where a bit of our work is gradually being replaced. Even
Yeah.
if not fully replaced, we are somewhat dependent
Yeah, we are
on
getting there.
these. So we get in there. But yeah, Joe, will continue.
I don't want to digress from McLean's question. Yes, it's. I agree. It looks like AI is replacing life, honestly, but it's almost like the tractor situation, right? With farmhands. We thought this is how farming is supposed to be done. Machines came and then it replaced that. It did replace some part of life because some years ago, almost everybody was like farming was a thing, right? I mean, I think an industry like Ghana, a country like Ghana boasts of 60% agricultural, labor, right? I don't think it's something we should be boasting about anymore anyway. But like, it's like that was life. But now that's not life. Now life is tech. Do you get it? So one thing I know, human beings will always evolve. We have the ability to evolve and we will evolve. And whatever challenge comes at us, we evolve. But yeah, I think we are getting to the point where you watch these AI movies, sci-fi movies, and it's like human beings have become very lazy because AI is doing everything for us. It just sits there and then, now AI is learning art, music, and we are not interested in
Yeah.
in those things. So
On the
yeah,
live bit, I think someone said that AI is going to take away, that creativity part of humanity, or that curiosity part of humanity, where now AI is dependent on our previous intelligence or our previous capabilities, where the human mind is limitless to do more. But because now we are doing it the other way around, instead of generating more intelligence for these bots to extract and become more intelligent, we are now limiting our intelligence. So we like there's more like a cap, like a bit of a glass ceiling there, where we will just become as intelligent as our bots, and then we are just probably
and
going to
then
be
robots
robots.
became more intelligent and take over the world.
Literally, exactly, because we we will stop using our brains more, and then it just become very much limited to what they do, and then they will maybe learn deeply, because we're talking about deep learning models and all that. They start learning things that trace back to how human thinking has evolved and everything. But yeah.
But I
It's like
think,
the calculator,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
we're overall as a society much worse at arithmetic than people like I'd say yeah before the calculator was out, right? You're offloading some of your mental like capacity over
Right,
to
right.
machines, right? So that's definitely on the horizon, and one of the ethical implications of this sort of full embrace of AI.
Mm,
But I also think it creates new sets of problems for
Yep,
humans to solve.
absolutely, absolutely.
Now we think about what can I do with this new capability that has been unraveled by artificial intelligence. And basically, I mean, when I talk to people, that's the kind of message I want to push. Think about how you can use it to be the best possible productive human being you can,
right.
right? Um, like I remember, when ChatGPT came, um, some of my colleagues, some of them are even on this podcast. They were
Guilty
saying
as
like,
charged.
Shots
nah,
fired.
yeah, I'm not gonna use ChatGPT, yeah, just to Stack Overflow and all of that. I was like, no, well, I'm using ChatGPT. It's awesome. Like
Yeah.
problems I haven't solved before. It gives me. So I mean, I think ChatGPT CTO in his TED talk was talking about the fact that we should view it as a brainstorming companion,
Mm,
Yep,
right? And it's been
absolutely,
amazing as a brainstorming companion. I don't see it
absolutely.
as giving me all the answers I need. I just need some direction, some guidance, especially in something I don't have any knowledge of. It's able to give me a starting point, right? Because when it comes to like root Googling, you need to know what you are searching for. And
yeah.
sometimes it's difficult to even know that. But,
Absolutely.
with ChatGPT, you have an idea and then, okay, now you can continue to Google.
Yeah.
And they were,
It's like pair
I
programming, you know? It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
when
exactly.
it's like one of the big things we push in tech jobs in general, like bounce ideas off someone else. You might be stuck on a bug for a week, and then
Mm,
all it takes is one person to just look at the code, be like, hey, why are you using this? Why not do this? And
Exactly.
just immediately unblocks you. Well, ChatGPT, you get that just at your fingertips, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing. And I had a similar experience to McLean. Initially, I was like, I don't know. I'd rather not too sure, but then yeah, I just gave it a shot, and I was mesmerized with just the quality of like just the responses.
Yep. Yep.
Just
Yep.
wow, yeah, it really just gets you going on the right track.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was skeptical to use ChatGPT because of what I thought, or because I thought AI will replace us, right? So
You're
you
trying to
can
fight
you
for
can say
us.
it's fear because I mean I grew up watching the Terminator, right? And we all know what happened on Judgment Day and all. Yeah, AI replacing us. I mean, and also we've watched a lot of fictional movies, right? Sci-fi movies where AI sort of wants to replace us, or AI was successful replacing us. Take a look at even Marvel's Avengers 2. Ultron is an AI,
Yep.
although I think Friday and Jarvis are also forms of AI, right? But somehow Ultron
It's an evil one.
defeated. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think I'm not, or I know I'm not the only one who shares that sentiment. So should we really be afraid of AI? Like, why are people afraid of AI? And is it something that we should be thinking about, like being scared of AI?
I don't think we should be scared of AI as a field and as just in general as a tool, but I think we should be just skeptical and wary of how to use it properly. We don't want, like, it's already coming, but having like weapon systems, automated with AI and things like that, that's just not good, right? But what we should be focusing on is, yeah, how to use it properly, how to ensure that it doesn't turn into like a nuclear sort of scenario, right? Where every country's got an incredibly intelligent AI system they could deploy fast and just like an arms race. No, we shouldn't be scared of AI itself. We should understand that if used properly, could be an incredible tool to like, yeah, like Joel was talking about, just make you a better person, right? In terms of just helping you learn better, more efficiently, helping you be more productive, create more things, create more, products, like not just products, but just in general. Yeah, we should be framing it that way rather than like just looking at AI on what it could become and deciding, oh yeah, that's definitely what's going to happen. We should be terrified of it. No, I
Yeah.
think we should be trying to sort of push for more sort of regulations and more strict sort of global understanding and agreements on how to use this within reason.
I think yeah, I agree with Zain. We shouldn't be afraid of AI. We should be afraid of humans as
Yeah.
always. Human beings, we are the architects of our own problems. Wars are not caused by technology, but they are caused by human beings. And the human beings will use technology to advance, that. Just like how even in the energy space, we have seen nuclear energy to be bad, right? But we currently have a new wave of evangelists, proposing nuclear energy being a great source of energy, for everyday life. But human beings would see nuclear energy as very destructive, and because that's how it has been used in the past. So yeah, and I agree with Zane talking about high regulations, and human beings are the ones who have to put out these regulations. We are the only ones that can regulate AI and the use of it. What I think some people have fears that will rather cripple the use of their use of AI rather than embrace it. I hear in some industries, ChatGPT is like banned. Like in the financial space and in the medical space as well. And I'm like, is they better start, trying to make good use of it, right? And seeing where the boundaries are rather than, keeping it banned. Because then, like, for example, if you compare traditional bank to now, the new type of bank, which is not in a physical location and that's online, you see
Like,
like online banks like Monzo,
yeah,
you
start.
know, and startup banks are taking advantage of the things that the highly regulated physical banks were afraid of. So if you are in an industry that is highly regulated, you're not allowing the use of ChatGPT, you find a startup disrupting that industry with the use of, the technology.
Yeah,
And I mean, humans really care what, is what's good for them. If you give a product that makes sense to them,
yeah.
why
I
not?
think yeah, I think the way the media also, has navigated the chat GPT wave, or been surfing that wave, because we're in a tech self podcast, so allow me to use a bit of our jargons. Um, it's kind of brought a lot of fear. Not saying that some of the things that have happened are not true. Like, for example, we see the case of Samsung, where there was like a whole, controversy around them, like they're using Chat
Exactly.
GPT and then having their whole code base, leaked and everything. That happens. But then we need to also, as I think the media has to find a way to encourage this invention that is here to stay. Definitely we take it with a pinch of salt, where maybe policymakers, start putting some structures in place. But I don't think the more a country will, restrict access to AI, I think the more they are capping their abilities. Because it's more like a country saying they don't want to trade on the stock market. Like, none of their companies are going to be allowed to trade on the stock market. It's to their own disadvantage, because the world was keep evolving.
A country banning Twitter.
Fair enough. I mean, you get it. It's to their own disadvantage, because it's here to stay, and it's actually
Yeah.
helping other countries, be more productive, or generate some form of income, maybe not directly, but yeah, it's quite an interesting
Yeah.
phase we're
Yeah.
in.
But this idea of like, yeah, if you prohibit a technology, or in general, you can expand this idea to a lot of things. Like, really lawfully prohibiting something usually works out the other way. Like, just look at the war on drugs, for example.
Yep.
It's just a
Yep.
basic example. Like, you're gonna spend so many resources trying to ignore the issue, or sort of trying to repress the issue, but what's going to happen is you're going to see the opposite effect, just much worse than you even
Yeah.
initially had it. So yeah, you kind of need to learn, or sort of adapt around it. That's one of the key things, I think, with AI and with the landscape, how it's going to evolve. I think people are just going to have to be way more adaptive and willing to sort of just upskill, reskill, sort of, you know, yeah,
Yeah.
not
I,
have it.
I mean, let's talk of regulations. I think perfectly segues into the next question that I want to ask. Talk of law and tech, right? So again, taking an example, Mid Journey, where it generates images by learning from most of the artwork out there. I mean, Joel mentioned AI rapping and AI dropping songs and all that. It uses intellectual property already out there, right?
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
that begs the question: should these forms of AI or generative AI be legal?
Um,
Zain?
I think.
Uh, yeah, go
Okay,
ahead, Joel.
James,
Sorry. Yeah, no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I think it is almost like asking if the internet should be legal. All right. If you take academia, for example,
Mm.
and dissertations, and correct attribution, or how do we know, referencing, right? Referencing has become more difficult over the years, right? Because it's like nobody is really a true custodian of some
Knowledge.
particular type of knowledge,
Yeah.
right? Knowledge is more shared, and the more shared knowledge becomes, it makes it very difficult to attribute, right? Personally, I think so. In academia, academia should get to a point that it allows students to use, say, ChatGPT, but then you reference that this was generated by ChatGPT. So it opens it to a different type of scrutiny, right? So when it comes to like art, all forms of art, I just think that the companies that push these forms of AI should work better at attribution, right? You should be able to say, oh, the artwork generated this generated piece of art draws inspiration from, then you list the
Yep,
bodies of
absolutely.
art, or types of art, or the artists that you whose images you've used, and also, I guess, permissions to actually use art to train these generative adversarial neural networks should be also like highly regimented and regulated. Right? Yesterday, I even heard that to play music in a bar, you need a music license. Well, where I come from,
We just say it
right?
as
You
even
get it.
because even where we come from, maybe say not to just maybe exclude you a bit. You could have celebrities as on your barber shop or wherever it is. You have
Yeah, without
Very
it
similar.
any,
very
Very
similar,
similar.
fair enough. Yeah.
without paying any form of royalties or stuff like that. Right?
Yeah, there's
So,
bigger issues, right? In
yeah,
our
yeah.
country.
I mean, so these problems are problems that have existed beyond the field of AI, right?
Right.
And attribution is important.
All right.
It's very very important. Even on Instagram, someone reposts someone's video and then the owner of the video comes and say, "At least
Tag
tag me,"
me.
you know. At least
Yeah.
so yeah. If generative AI at least tag the artists from which their pieces you draw inspiration from. The question is, how did they even get that data in the first place? Did
Scraped
the
it.
artist make it available
Yeah.
publicly and openly, right? Like when you go on a platform like Twitter, wherever you see, like in their privacy policy and Twitter guidelines, they let you know that it doesn't belong to you. You are
Yeah.
contributing to shared knowledge, right? So someone can mine. I mean, in my master's program, we were mining tweets for sentiment analysis.
Analysis.
Right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't need to go and ask permission from the person who put out the tweet. So I guess
But you do
regulations are
know
very very important.
there
Yeah.
is a thing. I'll just interrupt you quickly. There is a thing with Twitter. If you're doing research with tweets, if a person deletes their tweet and it's in your data set, you have to delete it from your data set. There are some regulations in place, but nowhere near as enough to make it fair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's wild. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Thanks for that too.
Yeah.
It's
So
insane.
yeah, generally there are some measures in place, but nowhere near to
No.
the like scale that it needs to be. Because yeah, like I don't I saw a couple months ago, not too sure when, but one of the artists whose art was used to train Dolly just quit because it kind of replaced him in a sense. Like they took all of his work, which he published online. I don't remember the name of the website, but it was one of those websites where like just people upload, their work,
Yeah.
and they just scraped the hell out of that website and just they have all this data. So they're like, if you like, and I'm sure this is also the case for a lot of artists, and even just going further than digital art, like poets, musicians, and stuff. Like we all saw that Drake and the Weeknd song.
Yep.
I didn't even know it was an AI generated song.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. We
I
kind of
think,
need better accountability when you
and in terms
like
of
pull Drake.
education, individuals need to understand, right? I've been making a joke with Meta products. People are reluctant to maybe say join Threads or because like, oh, they are gonna have my data, and I make a joke like, oh, take my data. I'm not using it for anything. I don't mind if you take my data. It's only concerning if you are going to use it for assassination attempts, right? But I think individuals need to be educated on, if I'm going to put my IP somewhere, I need to understand the implications and the
Yep.
consequences, right? Does this platform have a certain, relationship or business relationship with, an AI company that it's going to allow them to, just provide my data? I need to read. I mean, I don't. We don't read terms and conditions. We
I
don't
was
read
about
privacy.
to say you're probably gonna have to read the terms and conditions,
Or
which
maybe
is annoying.
it's something AI can also help us with, right? We build,
Yep.
when maybe this is an idea for someone
A
to,
summarizer.
yeah. So you build a bot that summarizes terms and conditions,
Right. Raymond, we need to clip this part. So let Big Spark work on this product and then add it back
Yeah,
Actually,
that
to
summarizes
the
terms and
episode.
conditions to make people understand the
yeah.
implications of
Exactly.
certain things they are doing. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So speaking about jokes, it's actually a very nice one. So I have a few jokes, and I will want to see how far we can get with AI humor. All right. So I'll throw it out there, and anyone who can, pick it up and run with it, we'll see. So
Wait, so jokes you wrote or AI wrote and we're trying to guess who did? You were the AI.
um, A mixture of both.
Okay.
A mixture of both. Well, I need to be fair. Okay, so let me just credit it because it's going to be out there. I'll have to credit the most intelligent robot in the world right now, ChatGPT, for assisting in creating these jokes. This is IP, and I wouldn't want to.
Wow. So
Yeah,
All right.
at the end of the day, AI will be replacing comedians.
literally, exactly.
Imagine
Not
AI
Dave Chappelle
replacing
look
Kevin
at
Hart.
Exactly. Because I was like, you know what? I'm coming on this episode. Let's see how AI can assist. And some of the jokes may be a bit cheesy, but they were quite interesting. But we'll
Go
let's see
on.
how it goes. All right. So,
All right.
how did AI describe its love life?
How did AI describe this love life? It
Trying to
can
think
go
outside the box.
multiple ways. Yeah, it
And
can
then
go
just whatever you have in mind, just go for it. Each of you, if you're not right, I'll just throw it out there.
live.
Go for it.
Zayn, any idea?
No.
Joel,
I'm,
any idea?
I'm struggling.
Trying
Okay.
I want to say with a prompt.
Not quite. Okay, so AI said it had a deep learning relationship.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
very good one. So there's a lot of learning in there. All right. Okay, so how does an AI fisherman catch fish?
Neural networks.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. So using a neural net. Okay, that's impressive. That's impressive. Okay. All right. Why do AI researchers prefer cats over dogs?
That's a that's an interesting one. Cats over dogs.
Huh.
Uh, this is hard.
I feel horrible. I can't guess any of these.
Don't worry.
Yeah,
When
very
I was
interesting. Like a
researching
lot of
myself,
making it. I find myself using cats as an example because a lot of like is
yeah,
cats.
it's
Yeah.
true. It's true. Okay, because they have better performance.
Okay.
So cats.
If Chat GPT ever does stand up, I will just quit life. Just like that.
I know. I know. Like I
I'm
said,
done.
okay,
I'm done.
okay. This one is not necessarily related to AI, but then it's since we're all scientists, it's quite a tricky one.
All right.
Why don't scientists trust atoms?
Because they make up everything.
Oh wow!
I've seen that
Let's
one.
go, Joe. Did
That
you
was
write these?
Yeah, I've seen that.
that's literally you literally just
I don't know if I heard that off of Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang.
yeah. Probably
I heard that.
ChatGPT got us a little joke some other places.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly. Learning.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so um, what? Let's just maybe get on our personal life. Just this is a breather session. So, what has AI not accomplished yet that you were waiting for it to accomplish in your personal life?
I'd like to see AI exploring the Titanic wreckage, but like properly, and come back.
So that you don't have to go there, like down there yourself for your own
Yeah,
information. Okay.
maybe too soon, but you know.
So
Yeah, no, go ahead, Joe.
for me, I wouldn't even limit it to AI, but tech in general. I'm just very interested in seeing the creation of the artificial human, right? So I know we have cameras for the eyes, right? That's good. We have microphones for we have microphones for the ears, and then speakers for the for
Yep.
the voice.
No, yeah.
What I haven't seen, and I've been thinking about it, the smell. I don't know if there's some
Yeah,
research.
yeah. There's a
Yeah.
research.
So and
I think
yeah.
they made a is it a graph or a scale? I read about it just last week actually, where there's this artificial nose, and they made a scale just like how we identify colors using RGBA and
Yep.
hex.
Yep.
So yeah, they trained
They have mapped out.
yes, they've mapped out the spectrum or the small spectrum, if we can call it that. Yeah, exactly. From I don't really remember this what the skill actually is, but I read about it and I can
Yeah,
share it
because
with you later.
it'll be interesting. Like, you call someone in somewhere else, like we're on this podcast from different locations, right? We can see each other, we can hear each other. It'll be good to be able to smell what's happening. Like if
No.
someone is cooking.
No.
Like
I'm not
the same way,
very
you
sure.
can, of course, the same way you can switch off your mic and your camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, let's say someone is, maybe you're in a long distance relationship and your partner is cooking something good.
All right.
Well,
You would
that's
like to be able to, smell. And so basically, we have all the hardware for almost all the human senses, and the software being like AI,
Yeah.
empowering that. I'm interested in seeing that perfect, not
Yeah.
perfect, but like the
So like
artificial
an
human being.
AGI agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get to like that's what I want to see. That mirroring of robotics and
Yeah.
AI is what I want to see.
That is gonna be the point, I think, where we're gonna like look at and be okay, now we've done it, right? That's
Yes,
gonna be like kind
exactly.
of a turning
Exactly.
point.
Yep, yep, yep.
It's both terrifying and very interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess where artificial life fails, and I think a lot of research is also being done in the emotions, because that is beyond, that's a different part of the soul. At least AI is being able to tap into intelligence, one part of the soul, but emotions. And interesting to see how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an Egyptian AI researcher. She started. I don't remember the name of the company, but her name is Rania Kalyubi. She was on Lex Friedman a couple times, I think, on the podcast. And yeah, she started a company. I think it's called, I want to say Emotiva or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, her work is like fully specified, like specific to like mapping or modeling human emotions and translating that, trying to get an AI system to understand it, so like recognizing emotions or certain, so
I don't know
yeah.
if you guys have seen the series on Disney Plus, The Orville.
Yeah.
But
No.
check it out. Yeah,
What's it
they
called?
like The Orville. I think
The
Shane was
Orville.
the one who even recommended it to me some years back. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. There's some episodes where they explored, the emotional aspects and sides of, a robot, an intelligent agent. Yeah, I would also like to see that. Yep, Zain, I'll probably reach out to you for the research you shared. I'd also like to hear.
Yeah, the company's called Affectiva. I just looked it up. Yeah, I'll ping you guys. Yeah,
You
she's got
can
a
actually
really
pop
interesting
you can pop
episode
it in the
on.
chat,
Yeah, I'll
actually.
pop in the chat.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Affectiva.
I'm sure Ray will add it to the show notes for our.
Definitely, it'd be very helpful for our viewers or our audience,
listeners.
our listeners to be able to pick that up and
She's got a really interesting episode with Lex Friedman not too long ago. Definitely worth a check out. Yeah, actually, talking of Lex Friedman, I think he was also one of the big reasons I did AI, to be honest. Yeah.
oh, that's interesting. That's good. All right, so now we have a lot of AI products out there. All right, excluding Chat GPT. What are your maybe top 5 faves, and just give a quick description of what they do, and you don't have to repeat what any other person.
Hands down, Google Translate.
Okay.
Easily. Not just for the task itself, but Google Translate is what prompted the creation of Transformers, which is right now the pretty much the engine driving all these crazy models, right? So Google actually all the papers coming out with large language models are all based on the architecture that Google created to solve machine translation. So I'd say just as I think it's really, really, really cool that nowadays you can literally go into a different country and just be totally fine. Obviously, a country where they have enough resources so that it can get accurate translations, because that is a big problem nowadays. Still, there are a lot of low resource languages, which they're called, where you just don't have enough digitized material so you can train your models on. But yeah, in general, I think machine translation is definitely a super interesting task, which I think at this point we've pretty much solved, except for those low level languages. But yeah, definitely Google Translate for me.
Okay. Any other products? I mean, can I just name them out just for
I
the
think,
just for the audience
yeah,
to whet the
um,
appetite?
NLP
Yeah.
in as a whole, but I think one of our colleagues shared this on Slack last time with Spark. I was talking about high level, and we were considering Python a high level language,
Yeah.
but now you could actually write code with English. That's a higher
That is
level
crazy. That is
language.
crazy. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
that
mean, the
was wild.
definition of a high level language like Python is a language that's close enough to human language. But
Mm,
now think about the fact that now you can actually write code with human language
Yeah,
itself.
it is wild.
That's wild.
Yeah, I think another product will be Otter.ai. Yeah, so well, because
Transcript.
it summarizes everything. Sometimes I don't even join meetings, right? I I don't join meetings, and then I just receive a mail from Otter.ai because my Otter pilot joined the meeting and it's transcribed whatever I wanted for me, and also it summarized them. That's one of the features that I love about Otter.ai because it just gives you everything, and then you understand everything from a glance or at a glance, right? Without necessarily participating in meetings. I think, yeah, it's as a dev who doesn't like joining meetings, it's really come in handy.
Yeah. So I have a question though. It's a funny one. If
sure.
everybody sends their Otter pilot into their meetings, who is going to?
Well, something similar. So that I actually didn't know about. I knew about Otter.ai, but I didn't know about like the assistants joining meetings. One time we had a catch up of a sort, we were just two human beings there, and the rest were bots. And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" I was asking questions, and I was literally just talking to a non-existent person, and it felt very weird. I kicked them out of the meeting, to be fair, because it was annoying because the main goal of that a
Human
meeting was to
interaction.
have human interaction, but then it was quite an interesting experience.
Yeah, but I guess with some movies that we've watched, that's where you have like a personal assistant, or I think there was this story about, was it a Chinese or Japanese guy who had like a robots built like with his features and everything, and then he would send it out to places he's supposed to be.
What? Like actually? Just
Yeah,
like just.
yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah. I
that is
forgot
wild.
that was yeah.
It's like that Bruce Willis movie. I forgot what its name. Surrogate, I think is what it's called. Old movie. Yeah.
So I guess that's where we are getting to, and then you just like maybe create for my anime fans here, creating shadow clones of yourself and receive the knowledge.
Awesome. Yeah. So I mean, talk of talk of AI replacing humans. We've already spoken about the legal implications and all. So Joel and Zane, what practical advice or what practical advice will you give to people who are scared of AI, or how do people embrace AI and use it for our benefits?
Don't be like your parents. Yeah, embrace the technology. I remember, like, we are slowly becoming like our parents. I hope my parents are not listening to this, but I remember when smartphones were bubbling,
Mm,
and trying to get your parents to like get you a smartphone. Like my dad, saw it as a luxury, right, and not a necessity, because like you don't need all of that. What do you need a phone for? Just to call and make and send text messages, right? And later on, then they begin to realize, that, oh, I should have gotten on this bandwagon early, because it would have improved my life or productivity, a lot. The same way, now that we are old,
I'm
when
though.
when these new technology advancements are coming, just try. You don't lose anything from trying it out, right? From checking them. Yeah, I'm a very conservative person. I don't really like change. So deciding to check out ChatGPT was huge. And I'm glad I did, right? I mean, most of the products you guys have mentioned now, also hop in and check it out, like Otter, like, and see what you can get from it. Because again, AI, humans with AI are going to replace humans without AI. The earlier, the better.
That's a nice line. I like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I agree. Definitely, I agree with you. Yeah, I think if you're in a position where your future is uncertain due to AI, so if you're working or like a routinized job that's severely under threat of a full replacement, I would definitely think of upskilling, reskilling, trying to I mean, it's easier said than done, right? But like, yeah, learn to program because I think there's always going to be a demand for this job
Yep.
for sure. But again, recognizing that the people who work these routinized jobs are often from disenfranchised communities and they can't afford, they don't have access to proper resources to get a good education in these fields. So just embrace the technologies, try and leverage them to further your career, further yourself, build yourself up more, learn as many things as possible, and just be a more productive human.
Yep. And I think even adding towards the saying with learn as many things as possible, we need to get away from the idea of putting ourselves in a box. Right. There's going to come a time where you can't even really call yourself, say, I am a software engineer, or I am a lawyer, right? Because if your job's under threat, it's about what other skills do you have? What can you do that's in demand? If selling is in demand, you might as well become a good salesperson, right? So try and learn from as much as possible. Go where the opportunities are, and now learning has also become very easy and accessible. You don't no shade to academia, but you don't need to go to a university to acquire
Yep.
knowledge,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
There are a lot of MOOCs out there. There's
Especially
YouTube.
coding. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it's about, I think McLean says this a lot. It's about the skill. It's not about, it's about the skill set and the knowledge you have. It's not where you got the knowledge from or where you got the skill sets from. Do you have the skill?
Yep.
Can you do a job? That's what's
Yep.
important.
Yep.
I like that. And I think that's
Beautifully
actually a
said.
very nice way to end today's episode. So simply put, just, grab your surfing board and just surf over the tech wave because it's here to
Oh, that's
stay
a nice.
and it's
Beautiful.
not going
You've
to.
prepared that line before.
Well, I actually did. And to be fair, ChatGPT did not help me. This is human intelligence at
Okay.
All
anyways.
right.
I'm sure I
All
can
right.
put in a prompt to get ChatGPT to talk.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But saying, Joel, this has been a very great conversation. I've learned a lot, and I think
Yeah, yeah. Likewise.
it's actually settled a lot of the fears I had about AI, and looking forward to seeing AI become more and more a part of our lives. And thank you, McLean, for being an amazing co-host. It's been
As
amazing.
always.
All right. So AI may really be coming for your job, regardless of whether you are in tech, law, or medicine. The fears are valid, but it's also an opportunity for humanity to tackle new problems. Don't exempt yourself, upskill, and surf on. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Tech Surf Podcast. See you in the next episode.